Delta Bridal.
Ronald John Hemingway,
Mark F. Hemscott.
Ronnie Lee Henderson,
Brian Hennessy.
Edward R. Hennessy Jr.,
Michelle Marie Enrique.
Joseph Patrick Henry,
William L. Henry Jr.
Catherine Henry Robertson,
John Christopher Henwood.
Robert Allen Hepburn,
Mary Herencia.
Lindsay C. Harkness III,
Harvey Robert Hermer.
Humberto Hernandez,
Raul H. Hernandez.
I never saw myself before you looked at me, before you kissed my face, before you smiled at me, and I knew that day I would never be alone. And it's the only way. Life never got me low, tears never broke me down. Inside I always know I'd be by your side, so I'd never be alone. But all that is different right now, and everything is solid but the ground. You'll never be alone. You'll never be alone. If you fall, I'll catch you.
Thank you. That was a perfect song to follow up my husband. Firefighter, Public Illinois Jr., Charlie, and a Marine. You know, he always had a dream about keeping the American dream alive. And I ask for everyone to honor that and keep it alive and to continue to support and defend your country and protect your loved ones. My children speak to you all the time, and I feel your support. Thank you.
And we remember so many other Americans lost to violence, oppression, and the pandemic in our great country who do not receive a national moment of recognition and whose families mourn them deeply, as we do here today. And my beloved sister, Catherine Patricia Salter, she had a habit of saying, "Get over it." And Kathy, we have never gotten over it, but we have gotten on with it. We've tried to live life fully each day, and your love and companionship as a sister continues to inspire us and to inspire me. Your light shone bright and beautiful, and you live on in our hearts.
Gary Harold,
Jeffrey Allen Hirsch,
Thomas J. Hetzel,
Leon Bernard Hayward, MC Sundance,
Brian Christopher Hickey,
Enemencio Dario Hidalgo Cedeno,
Timothy Brian Higgins,
Robert D.W. Higley II,
Todd Russell Hill,
Clara Victorine Hines,
Neil O. Hines,
Mark Hindy,
Katsuyuki Hirai,
Heather Malia Ho,
Tara Yvette Hobbs,
Thomas Anderson Hobbs,
James J. Hoban,
Robert Wayne Hobson III,
Dewan Hodges,
Ronald G. Horner,
Patrick A. Hoey,
John A. Hoffer,
Marcia Hoffman,
Stephen Gerard Hoffman,
Frederick Joseph Hoffman,
Michelle L. Hoffman,
Judith Florence Hoffmiller,
Wallace Cole Hogan Jr.,
Thomas Warren Holweck Jr.,
Jonathan R. Homan,
Cora Hidalgo Holland,
John Holland,
Joseph F. Holland,
Jimmy I. Holly,
Elizabeth Holmes,
Thomas P. Houlihan,
Herbert Wilson Homer,
Leroy W. Homer Jr.,
Bradley V. Horn,
James P. Hopper,
and my brother, Brian Joseph Murphy. We miss you terribly. Love you forever. Your girls are excellent. It's a pleasure to see them move to a life of helping others.
and my deeply loved and dearly missed uncle, Christopher Newton Carter. We will never forget you.
Go ahead.
Montgomery McCullough Horde,
Michael Joseph Horn,
Matthew Douglas Horning,
Robert L. Horojo Jr.,
Michael Robert Horrocks,
Aaron Horowitz,
Charles J. Houston,
Ahuru G. Houston,
Angela M. Houts,
George Gerard Howard,
Brady K. Howell,
Michael C. Howell,
Stephen Leon Howell,
Jennifer L. Howley,
Milagros Romero,
Marion R. Recheck,
Stephen Hutchko Jr.,
Chris Robert Hughes,
Paul Rexford Hughes,
Robert T. Hughes Jr.,
Thomas F. Hughes Jr.,
Timothy Robert Hughes,
Susie Huey,
Lamar Demetrius Hulsey,
John Nicholas Humber Jr.,
William Christopher Hunt,
Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey,
Joseph Gerard Hunter,
Peggy M. Hurt,
Robert R. Husa,
Stephen N. Highland Jr.,
Robert J. Heimel,
Thomas Edward Hines,
Walter G. Hines,
Joseph Anthony Ionelli,
Zudu Ibis,
Jonathan Lee Ielpi,
William Patrick Eichen,
Daniel Ilkaneyev,
Frederick L. J. L. Jr.,
and my wonderful father, Ian Thompson. You are a light for all of us, and you are so very missed. Even after 20 years, it feels surreal, and it's a difficult but beautiful thing to be here to honor you. Love you, Dad.
and my brother, firefighter Paul Hanlon Keating, Ladder 5. Paulie, the family can't believe it's been 20 years. We miss you, and we miss you just as much today as we did 20 years ago. Until then, may God hold you in his hands.
Abraham Nathaniel Ilowitz,
Anthony P. Infante Jr.,
Louis S. Inglaterra,
Christopher Noble Ingracia,
Paul Inella,
Stephanie Veronica Irby,
Douglas Jason Eargang,
Christine Irvine Ryan,
Todd Antione Isaac,
Eric Hans Isbronson,
Taizo Ishigawa,
Walid Joseph Inkandar,
Aram Iskandarian Jr.,
John F. Iskyan,
Kazushige Ito,
Alexander Valer Ivich Ivansov,
Lacey Bernard Ivory,
Virginia May Jablonski,
Brian C. Jack,
Brooke Alexandra Jackman,
Aaron Jeremy Jacobs,
Ariel Lewis Jacobs,
Jason Kyle Jacobs,
Michael G. Jacobs,
Stephen A. Jacobson,
Stephen D. Jacoby,
Ricknoth Jaggernoth,
Jake Dennis Jagoda,
Yudvir S. Jane,
Maria Jan Kubiak,
Robert Adrian Jalbert,
Ernest James,
Griselda E. James,
Mark Stephen Jardim,
Amy Nicole Jarrett,
Mohamedou Jawara,
Francois Jean-Pierre,
Maxima Jean Pierre,
Paul Edward Jeffers,
John Charles Jenkins,
and my uncle Christopher Noble Ingracia. Even
And-
though you died more than 8 years before I was born, your memory lives on through me and so many of your family and friends. Now Grandpa is in heaven with you too. May you both rest in the peace of his kingdom, and may God bless America.
and to my cousin Daniel L. Maher.
Joseph Jenkins Jr.,
Alan Keith Jensen,
Prem Nath Girath,
Farah Judy,
Hueda Jian,
Elizer Jimenez Jr.,
Luis Jimenez Jr.,
Charles Gregory John,
Nicholas John,
Dennis M. Johnson,
Lashana Johnson,
Scott Michael Johnson,
William R. Johnston,
Allison Horstman Jones,
Arthur Joseph Jones III,
Brian Leander Jones,
Charles Edward Jones,
Christopher D. Jones,
Donald T. Jones II,
Donald W. Jones,
Judith Lauter Jones,
Linda Jones,
Mary S. Jones,
Andrew Brian Jordan Sr.,
Robert Thomas Jordan,
Albert Gunnis Joseph,
Ingeborg Joseph,
Carl Henry Joseph,
Stephen Joseph,
Jane Eileen Josiah,
Anthony Jovic,
Angel L. Warbe Jr.,
Karen Sue Juday,
Ann C. Judge,
Michael F. Judge,
Paul William Jurgens,
Thomas Edward Jurgens,
Shashikaran Lakshmita Kadaba,
Gavharoy Kamardinova,
Shari Candel,
and my cousin, Brian. My cousin, Brian Christopher Hickey, FDNY Battalion Chief from Rescue 4. So very brave, so very missed, so very loved by so many, always.
and my father, Louis F. Eversano Jr. To my daddy and all of those that we lost 20 years ago today, your loss has left us all with a heartache that nothing will ever heal. But know this, our love for you and our memories of you and with you are something that no one and nothing, no evil, will ever steal. God bless America.
Howard Lee Kane,
Jennifer Lee Lynn Kane,
Vincent D. Kane,
June Koo Kang,
Sheldon Robert Cantor,
Deborah H. Kaplan,
Robin Lynn Kaplan,
Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr.,
Charles H. Karcheski,
William A. Carnes,
Douglas Jean Karpiloff,
Charles L. Casper,
Andrew K. Cates,
John A. Casamatides,
Robert Michael Colfers,
Don Jerome Couth Jr.,
Hidea Kawachi,
Edward T. Keene,
Richard M. Keene,
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin,
Carol Ann Kiesler,
Barbara A. Keating,
Paul Hanlon Keating,
Leo Russell Keene III,
Brenda Kiegler,
Chandler Raymond Keller,
Joseph John Keller,
Peter R. Kellerman,
Joseph P. Kellett,
Frederick H. Kelly III,
James Joseph Kelly,
Joseph A. Kelly,
Maurice P. Kelly,
Richard John Kelly Jr.,
Thomas Michael Kelly,
Thomas Richard Kelly,
Thomas W. Kelly,
Timothy Colin Kelly,
William Hill Kelly Jr.,
Robert Clinton Kennedy,
and my grandfather, Dedo, Martin John Coughlin,
Even though I never got to meet you, I will always carry on your legacy and spirit. I will never forget you.
And my brother, Joseph A. Kelly, whose love of life and generosity inspired everyone who knew him. He was a great young man, and he will be dearly missed. He is truly missed.
Thomas J. Kennedy.
Yvonne E. Kennedy.
John Richard Keohane.
Ralph Francis Kershaw.
Ronald T. Kerwin.
Howard L. Kestenbaum.
Douglas D. Ketchum.
Ruth Ellen Kettler.
Boris Califf.
Norma Cruz Khan.
Sarah Khan.
Taimur Faraz Khan.
Rajesh Khandawal.
Saleh Ku.
Michael Vernon Kiefer.
Satoshi Kikuchara.
Andrew Jaehoon Kim.
Lawrence Don Kim.
Mary Jo Kimmelman.
Heinrich Kemig.
Karen Ann Kincaid.
Amy R. King.
Andrew M. King.
Lucille Teresa King.
Robert King Jr.
Lisa King Johnson.
Brian K. Kinney.
Takashi Kinoshito.
Chris Michael Kirby.
Robert Kirkpatrick.
Howard Barry Kirschbaum.
Glenn Davis Kerwin.
Helen Crossan Kittle.
Richard Joseph Claris.
Peter Anton Klein.
Alan David Kleinberg.
Karen Joyce Klitzman.
Ronald Philip Klepfer.
Stephen A. Knapp.
Eugenie Kinazev.
And my grandfather, Jeremiah Joseph Ahern. Although we never met physically, you will always live in my heart and our family. We love you, and I look forward to meeting you one day.
And my brother, Dennis J. McHugh III. The sounds of your voice has faded over the years, but our hearts will always be filled with the love that we have for you. May you continue to rest in peace and pray for us. We love you and miss you. God bless America.
Andrew James Knox.
Thomas Patrick Knox.
Rebecca Lee Kabori.
Deborah A. Kobus.
Gary Edward Keckler.
Frank J. Costner.
Ryan Cohart.
Vanessa Lynn Shobolo Kolpak.
Irina Kolpakova.
Suzanne Rose Kondratenko.
Abdullah Kone.
Bon Suk Ku.
Dorota Kopitsko.
Scott Michael Kopitko.
Bohan George Kostich.
Danielle Kasulis.
David P. Kovalchin.
John J. Kren.
William Edward Krukowski.
Ludmila Kasita.
Toshia Kuge.
Shekhar Kumar.
Kenneth Bruce Kumpel.
Frederick Kuo Jr.
Patricia A. Corris.
Nauka Kushatani.
Thomas Joseph Kuvakis.
Victor Kawarkai.
Raymond Kui Fekwak.
Angela Reed Kite.
Andrew Lacourte.
Carol Ann LaPlante.
Jeffrey G. Latouche.
Catherine L. Labori.
Amarnath Latchman.
Ganesh K. Ladkat.
James Patrick Ladley.
Joseph A. LaFalce.
Jeanette Louise Lafond Medahino.
David James LaForge.
And my grandfather, Philip T. Hayes, Even though I never had the chance to meet you, you will always be my hero. I've heard so many amazing stories about you, and I am blessed to have such a great role model as my grandpa. I miss and love you so much. You are forever in our hearts.
And my aunt, Harde Casey Parbu. My family and I miss her so much. She was always filled with so much joy and cared for her loved ones. I am honored to have known her. We truly cherish all the great memories we shared with her. We love you, Auntie Chani. To all the victims and their families, I sincerely hope today you all can find some peace.
Michael Patrick Laforte.
Alan Charles LaFrance.
Juan Mendez Lafuente.
Neil Kwang Wa Le.
Vincent Anthony Laeda.
William David Lake.
Franco Lalama.
Chow Juan Lam.
Michael S. Lamana.
Stephen Lamancia.
Amy Hope Lamonsoff.
Robert T. Lane.
Brendan Mark Lang.
Roseanne P. Lang.
Vanessa Lang Langer.
Mary Lou Langley.
Peter J. Langone.
Thomas Michael Langone.
Michelle Bernadette Lanza.
Ruth Sheila Lapton.
Ingeborg A.D. Larrabee.
Robin Blair Larkey.
Judith Camilla LaRoque.
Christopher Randall Larrabee.
Hamadou S. Larry.
Scott Larson.
John Adam Larson.
Natalie Janice Lasden.
Gary Edward Lasco.
Nicholas Craig Lassman.
Paul Lazinski.
Charles A. Lawrencine.
Stephen James Loria.
Maria Lavache.
Dennis Francis Lavelle.
Janine Mary Laverty.
Anna A. Laverty.
Stephen Lawn.
Robert A. Lawrence Jr.
Nathaniel Lawson.
And my father, Brendan Francis McCabe. I remember the day before 9/11 just as vividly as I remember the 11th itself. My father took me and my brothers to the store to get soccer cleats and clothes for the fall season. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that he would be ripped out of our lives less than 24 hours later. I remember it like it was yesterday, but it's been 20 years. Things have not been the same without you, Dad. You never got to see us grow up, chase our dreams, graduate school. Never got to help us become adults. You never got to see your nieces and nephews and younger cousins grow up and get married and start families of their own. All we have left are memories of you, how amazing you were as a father and a person. It sucks that the younger kids in the family will never ever get to hang out with Uncle Bonebender firsthand. All they have are stories to learn about you from. There's been a lot of pain and heartache over the last 20 years, and we all miss you like crazy every day. From your brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, your cousins, your wife's son, and your daughter. We all miss you every day, Dad. It sucks that a bunch of cowards had to take the lives of innocent people who were just trying to provide for their family. We'll meet again one day, and it'll be nothing but tears of joy when we do. I love you, Dad. We all do. And I know you're up there looking down on us. Never forget, God bless America, God bless New York, and God bless all the first responders that gave their lives that day. This is our city. You can't take down New York ever.
And my mother, Barbara P. Walsh. After 20 years, Mom, we're still carrying on all the love and the traditions that you've implanted in our hearts. You would think after 20 years, it would get easier. The last 20 years, you lost out on birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, Sunday dinners, celebrating our favorite season, fall, and our lovely Florida vacations, and watching your 8 grandchildren grow up and watching them be born. The missing goes on, and all we have to go on with our lives, we have, and all of your children are successful, and that's a testament to you, Mom. Your absence has created a huge void in our hearts and our lives, and that will never be filled again. We miss you so much, Mom. It's unbearable. God bless America. Please keep us safe. I love you.
David W. Lachak,
Eugene Gabriel Lazar,
James Patrick Leahy,
Joseph Gerard Levy,
Neil J. Levy,
Robert J. LeBlanc,
Leon Labor,
Kenneth Charles Lady,
Alan J. Liederman,
Elena F. Ledesma,
Alexis Leduc,
Daniel John Lee,
David S. Lee,
Dong Shul Lee,
Gary H. Lee,
Hyun Jun Lee,
Juanita Lee,
Catherine Blair Lee,
Linda C. Lee,
Lorraine Mary Green Lee,
Myung Woo Lee,
Richard Y. C. Lee,
Stuart Sujin Lee,
Yang Der Lee,
Stephen Paul Lefkowitz,
Adriana Legro,
Edward Joseph Lehman,
Eric Lerfeld,
David R. Leastman,
David Prudencio Lamagne,
Joseph Anthony Lenahan,
John Joseph Lennon Jr.,
John Robinson Lenoir,
Jorge Luis Leon Sr.,
Matthew G. Leonard,
Michael Lepore,
Charles A. L'Esperance,
Jeff Levine,
John Dennis Levi,
Alicia Karen Levin,
and my brother-in-law, Alfred Russell Mailer, Big Al. You have been and continue to be missed every single day the last 20 years. We will never forget your life or any of the lives lost on or as a result of or in response to 9/11. But let us also never forget what came right after that horrific day. An unparalleled sense of unity, of pride in and love of our country, of amazing compassion of each other, whether family, friend, or complete stranger. And in our grief and our strength, we were not divided based on our voting preference, the color of our skin, or our moral or religious beliefs. That was the United States I fell in love with, and that's the United States I proudly chose to become a citizen of. God bless all those lives lost, God bless our troops, and God bless America.
I only know you through stories told and your legacy. But I will make sure to let that legacy live on and to never forget you. I am proud to hold your first name as my own, and I am mostly proud to be able to carry on said legacy for generations to come. We love you and we miss you.
Should I start? Neil David Levin,
Robert Levine,
Robert Michael Levine,
Shai Levenhar,
Daniel M. Lewin,
Adam J. Lewis,
Jennifer Lewis,
Kenneth E. Lewis,
Margaret Susan Lewis,
Yi Wei Liang,
Orasiri Liang Fenasarm,
Daniel F. Libretti,
Ralph Michael Lichardi,
Edward Lischine,
Samantha L. Lightborn Allen,
Stephen Barry Lilienthal,
Carlos R. Lillo,
Craig Damian Lalore,
Arnold Arboleda Lim,
Daria Lynn,
Wei Rong Lin,
Nikki L. Lindo,
Thomas V. Linehan Jr.,
Robert Thomas Linane,
Alan Patrick Linton Jr.,
Diane Teresa Lipari,
Kenneth P. Lira Aravello,
Francisco Alberto Liriano,
Lorraine Lisi,
Paul Listen,
Vincent M. Lito,
Ming Hao Liu,
Nancy Liz,
Harold Liscano,
Martin Lizzo,
George A. Jonas,
Elizabeth C. Logler,
Catherine Lisa Lagudice,
Jerome Robert Lohes,
Michael William Lomax,
and my brother Abulke Chaudhry. There is not a single day goes by that I don't think of you. Losing such a beautiful soul and a kind spirit more than words can express. If I have known missing you would hurt so much that I wouldn't have let you go. I miss my best friend. You understand and love me unconditionally. You are unreplaceable. All these years since I lost you, I was devastated and hopeless. Although you were gone, but you always have guided me to be strong and courageous to move on. Losing you is a deep pain that is unexplainable. You always will be in my heart and will never be forgotten. I love you deeply, brother. You will be forever with me until we meet again.
and my uncle Walwyn Wellington Stewart Jr. To this day, we are still inspired by your heroism, kindness, and selflessness. Your memory will live on in our hearts forever. We love you and we miss you so much. Give Nana a hug for us.
I've never spoken. Stephen V. Long.
Laura Maria Longing.
Salvatore P. Lopes.
Daniel Lopez.
George Lopez.
Luis Manuel Lopez.
Maclovio Lopez Jr.
Manuel L. Lopez.
Joseph Lestrangio.
Chet Deck Louis.
Stuart Side Lewis.
Joseph Lavero.
Sarah Elizabeth Lowe.
Jenny Sue Huang Lo Wan.
Michael W. Lowe.
Gary W. Lozer.
John P. Lazowski.
Charles Peter Lucania.
Edward Hobbs Luckett II.
Mark Gavin Ludvigskin.
Lee Charles Ludwig.
Sean Thomas Lugano.
Daniel Lugo.
Marie Lucas.
William Lum Jr.
Michael P. London.
Christopher E. Ludner.
Anthony Luparello.
Gary Frederick Lutnick.
Linda Ann Luzicone.
Alexander Ligen.
Cece Lyles.
Pharrell Peter Lynch.
James Francis Lynch.
James T. Lynch Jr.
Louise A. Lynch.
Michael Cameron Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Richard D. Lynch Jr.
And my uncle, William Russell Peterson, Uncle Billy. With a spirit and a personality that could fill a room and a smile that was infectious, we miss you every day and hold you close to our hearts. We know you're making the heavens smile and looking down on us, supporting us. Go ahead.
And my grandfather, David Francis Ferruggio. We all miss you, and even though I didn't get to meet you, I still love you.
Robert Henry Lynch, Jr.
Sean P. Lynch.
Sean Patrick Lynch.
Terrence M. Lynch.
Michael J. Lyons.
Monica Ann Lyons.
Naheeman Lyons IV.
Patrick John Lyons.
Robert Francis Mace.
Marianne McFarland.
Jan Matsievsky.
Susan A. Mackey.
William Macko.
Catherine Fairfax McCrae.
Richard Blaine Madden.
Simon Madison.
Noel C. Myers.
Jenny Ann Maffeo.